So I have two major breaking stories coming out of Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, what the heck is happening there? We got criminal admissions. We also have a panicking Ilhan Omar who is surrendering here on camera. You guys got to see this, where she just says that she is not threatened by being deported. She actually, it would be doing her a favor. Is that what she's saying here? Then we got to break down what is going on with all these whistleblowers and a whole bunch of people coming out with the fraud happening in Minnesota. And again, the White House also spoke about this as a whole. But first, let's actually check up on Representative Ilhan Omar, what she has to say to people. And like Trump, because Trump came out. These are the two major stories that I want to talk about. It's the fact that Trump said something. Trump literally said that, hey, she married her brother. So that is something that is coming into fruition, into the light. And also, I found the Daily Mail speaking about the fact that she did marry her brother. So these are just, what the hell is happening in Minnesota? Take a listen to this.
I mean, I have no worry. I don't know how they take away my citizenship and like deport me, but I don't even know like why that's such a scary threat. Like, I'm not the 8-year-old who escaped war anymore. I'm grown. My kids are grown. Like, I can go live wherever I want.
So that sounds like she really isn't worried. Like, she doesn't really care. She can, like, she's probably looking forward to getting, I guess, denaturalized. But again, that is what she has to say. She's not the same 8-year-old who's scared. She is somebody that really just doesn't mind living anywhere else. And it would probably, she sounds like she's very excited about that. So what is the future of Ilhan Omar? Well, here is the president, ladies and gentlemen, on the plane where he is legitimately talking about maybe expelling or denaturalizing or even deporting. That is like another thing that everyone has been mentioning here. But he is talking about that she married her brother. This is wild, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen to this.
Frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do.
And you're talking about
I'm talking about like Somalia, where you have a congressman goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well, if that's true, she shouldn't be a congressman, and we should throw her the hell out of our country. Frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do.
And you're talking about
I'm talking about like Somalia, where you have a congressman goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well,
I had to repeat that twice. I had to literally repeat that twice because he literally said that she came into the country by marrying her brother. That is the president saying that, ladies and gentlemen. So what does this mean? How much fraud has there been in Minnesota? Well, it gets even worse, ladies and gentlemen, because the White House took it into their own to tell Americans about what is happening in Minnesota by absolutely torching Tim Walz. Now, a question that I propose to all of you is the fraud that was happening with the Somalians who have been caught. Again, Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, she's going to talk about this. And the fact that a lot of people are saying there's no way Ilhan Omar did not know. There's no way that Tim Walz did not know that this was happening under their nose. Take a listen.
About how Somali immigrants in Minnesota have been ripping off American taxpayers. In fact, 86 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs in Minnesota. Of those 86, 78 of those people are Somali, 91% of them charged. So far, 59 of those people have been convicted for their roles in fraud plots that have stolen $1 billion from taxpayers. In one scheme, and this is egregious, a nonprofit and its affiliates with these Somali migrants claimed to have fed tens of thousands of American children during the pandemic. They were reimbursed for those meals by taxpayers. However, federal prosecutors found that almost all of those meals were never even delivered to hungry children. In fact, those organizations' leaders spent the money on houses, luxury cars, and real estate in Turkey and Kenya.
Wow. Okay. So that is the $1 billion COVID fraud that the White House has uncovered, that they have been talking about. Now, What is Tim Walz's response? Well, let's actually go to what Tim Walz, and this is a WTF moment, because apparently he was running cover for the Somalis who stole billions of taxpayer dollars in Minnesota. Now, a lot of people have been saying that this doesn't exist. By the way, a lot of people knew about this. A lot of people have been ringing the bells. You had a lot of whistleblowers coming out and a lot of people talking about it who were now credible sources. And yet this is his response. Ladies and gentlemen, look at what he has to tell you, the American people in Minnesota.
Dozens of people of East African descent have been charged, convicted, and sentenced for stealing more than $1 billion in taxpayer money from government programs during COVID. As you know, Governor, that is more than Minnesota spends each year to run its Department of Corrections. So I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can. But to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy.
So he says the actions of a few, when in reality, there's been a lot. And what he also pretty much is running cover and basically doing what a lot of people may call the white liberal, what they usually do. There's a word for it. Let me actually find it. There's like this hobby that they have to run cover for everybody. When in reality, like they make it more about like the race, and they kind of make things worse, in my opinion. What do you guys think about that? Because what I'm about to show you is actually worse than you can possibly imagine, because what he is running cover for here is actually really bad. Let's actually go to Will Cain. He's been exposing all of this for some time, but here he is speaking of the HSS program, which was the welfare program that had exploded throughout from COVID all the way up to now. And here's where things take a huge turn. The Somalian fraud, Tim Walz's. People are saying this is Tim Walz's Somalian fraud scandal is getting even worse. He is quickly being known nationwide as a governor who betrayed his people. Well, let's take a listen to this.
But with loose rules, it led to widespread fraud. And you can see there, balloon in federal payments headed to Minneapolis to north of $100 million in just a few years. 6 of the people charged in that fraud, members of the Somali community. And then perhaps the most egregious and offensive of all, the autism scam, where a woman in the Somali community has been accused of recruiting children for therapy that they did not need, driving a surge in Medicaid claims. Look at the screen, look at the numbers, look at the explosion of federal dollars on the backs of fake autism. Now, the Times points out all this raises broader questions about the sustainability of Minnesota's not Somalian, but Scandinavian modeled system. That's a robust safety net bankrolled by high taxes. Now, that system created an environment that drew immigrants to the state over many decades, including tens of thousands of Somali refugees after their country descended into civil war in the 1990s. Did Governor Tim Walz have any idea what was happening in his state?
Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can. But to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy.
An embarrassment of an appearance on television on the heels of an embarrassment running the state of Minnesota.
So again, let's actually look deeper as to what is happening around social media affecting all of this. Because when you look up Tim Walz anywhere, you now are getting what we have seen, which is Minnesota social service workers are now slamming Governor Tim Walz as 100% responsible for massive fraud of 1 billion rolling state. And again, if you do a deep dive into this, I won't do it because I did it yesterday, and you can check out that video. But again, they literally, hundreds of state workers at Minnesota Department of Human Services publicly excoriated Governor Tim Walz for allowing a massive fraud scandal to unfold under his watch and retaliating against their whistleblowers. So there was retaliation from Tim Walz as this was all being uncovered. Now it's all pretty much blowing up in his face, and of course in the face of Ilhan Omar, who has been in the defense of all this stuff at this point. So again, things just get extremely crazy. Let me actually go show you this clip here that I found that I think is very important that we all see. This is a clip from the show Patrick and David podcast, where they were actually breaking this down and how crazy this even looks.
Somebody, a reporter, writes a negative hit piece on you. Your name is Tim Walz. All right, whatever. Imagine a podcaster does a full-on investigation on you. Boom. Here's what Tim Walz's background's all about. All right, whatever. Imagine if Fox News does something on you. Yeah, that's bad, right? But what's worse than Minnesota's Department of Human Services? This is a tweet that none of us saw that happened on September 11 of last year, when Minnesota's Department of Human Services employees sent a message to Kamala Harris. Okay? September 11, Rob, can we show the date so they can see it on the bottom, please? Zoom in a little bit. There you go. September 11, 2024. They sent it to her. It only gets 45,000 views. Let's read it together, Rob. Miss Harris, please listen to Minnesota state employees who work every day to deliver best services possible to our state and people who expect no less and pay our wages. Tim Walz has caused incredible harm to our state and agencies, retaliated against whistleblowers, against fraud. Zoom in a little bit. So what are all these things called? Feeding our future, $250 million. Okay. Child care assistant, $100 million. Frontline worker bonus pay, $45 million. Evergreen recovery, $28 million. Medicaid, 11, 10.4, 9.5, all Medicaid. Employee benefits, 8.6 million. Medicaid, 7.7, 5.4 million. Unemployment benefits, 4.7 million. SNAP, 4.1. Medicaid, 4 million, 3 million, 2.6, 1.8, 1.6 million. Futuristic Management Group, 1 million. Medicaid. And they have Medicaid autism clinics, $501 million, give or take. Then another tweet comes out saying the fact that why is it that in Minnesota, check this out, autism claims to Medicaid in Minnesota, after Somalians opened their own centers, 2018, 3 million. 2019, it's, I don't even know what you call that, 18x to be exact, 54 million. Next year, 77 million. 2021, 183 million. 2022, 79 million.
my God.
2023, 399 million. And if you go a little bit lower, they ask Grok to verify it, and Grok even responds back. Okay. Have any of these guys been held accountable in Minnesota? Look at Grok, go a little bit lower. Yes, the FBI and DOJ are investigating Medicaid fraud in Minnesota autism centers. Many serve in Somalia's communities. Ashraf Farhan Hassan was charged September 2025, which was 2 months ago, with wire fraud. $40 million scheme-related housing fraud charges include Mukhtar Hassan Adin, Mustafa Daib Ali, and others, obviously many traditional American names. Yeah. Probes continue with searches and links to other scams, some funds reportedly sent abroad. And you're looking at this thing, right? And then Department of Human and Health, Rob, go back to their tweet of what they sent yesterday that got some 25 million views, okay? This is the one, Rob, go a little bit lower. Is this the one that got 25 million views? Go a little bit lower. Yeah, this is the one. 33 million views. So go all the way to the bottom first to show what they're responding to. So here's a Dustin George, the damning quote on Tim Walz, failure to stop fraud consuming Minnesota. No one was doing anything about the red flags. He said it was like someone was stealing money from the cookie jar and they kept refilling it. This is New York.
No, this is crazy. This is the New York Times. So I played that whole thing for you because I thought I was very, very impressed by the way they presented this and breaking this down. I hope it helps you understand more so what is actually happening. And again, many people are calling for the resignation of who could have been the vice president of the United States. United States. This guy could have been the vice president. And all of this happened under his nose. Did we dodge a bullet? Did America dodge a bullet here?